What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 93. As always, on my left here, I've got Dan the Rally Rodriguez. And special episode this week, a very special guest. And I want to make sure that we do a level of introduction that is appropriate for the guest we have today, right?
I mean, it takes a lot of work.
It took a lot of work.
Yeah.
I had to script it.
100%.
You know, I started listening to a lot more hip-hop so I could get my rhyming game in line. I just want to make sure I could have some wordplay going on, and so, got to put that passion out there. Because I wanted to briefly say that the passion, that this gentleman has for what he does and his site and community is admirable. You can see it. It reflects in the work. And it's one of the aspects that really made me kind of touch base with these guys and identify with them, because there's a lot of people out there, as we all know, and a lot of sites, a lot of influencers, whatever word you want to use, that want the recognition, but they don't want to put in the work. And I don't have patience for that, and I don't think these guys do either. So it's nice to see someone that we collaborate with that can show them how it's done. And so, with that in mind, it's my pleasure to welcome to the Bitcast for the first time, and long overdue, the leader of the realm,
the head of the round table,
the cog that keeps lordsofgaming.net spinning,
the gaming ninja,
my Sega brother from another mother,
who speaks the last word on looter shooters,
and another who defines being a seasoned gamer,
one of our favorite collaborators,
the Iron Lord himself, Cognito. Welcome.
What's up, man?
Oh, I got the dual intro. Oh man, this is crazy. Oh man, you gotta have a tear, man. Make a brother shed a tear.
We had to step it up. That's the benefit of being side by side. We can kind of collaborate on it.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked that we hit that on the first time. So,
Me too. I thought that was gonna be like take 8.
First of all, the intro.
So welcome
much
to the show, man. Great to have you.
Thank you. Great
As
to
I
be
said,
here.
Long overdue. For those of you, I'm sure all of our audience knows Cog, head of the Iron Lords podcast, lordsofgaming.net. And, I was fortunate enough to be on their show last year. I actually went back, Cog, and it was last May. Can you believe it's almost been a year already?
Wow, it's been a year. I can't even believe that. Wow.
No, it's crazy. And so on the show in May, I met Cog and King and Addict and the guys, and met up with them at E3 last year in person for the first time, and just had a great time. And, just really looking forward to this E3, because it's going to be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can't wait. So,
with
that in mind, I wanted to have the pleasure of going through your gaming history, because I think that's always important to do, especially when we have guests on the show who have a long gaming history like we do. So let's start from the beginning, man. So,
sure.
What did you begin with? What was the first kind of gaming experience you had that you remember?
I think for me, it all started with my dad, and it was kind of, my mom and dad were separated, but mom was kind of like very religious, and then my dad was like, whenever he would have time with me, he'd be like, let me show you what's going on with, video games, what other kids are supposed to be doing.
Nice.
So, I definitely got to give credit to Papa Cognito, because he was the first to actually take me to the arcades. He was the first to have a home console, which was the ColecoVision. So
nice.
He had everything, man. And I remember playing, like, obviously the classics, the Donkey Kongs and stuff like that, and the Burger Times, and but he also had like unique games. He had this game called Gateway to Asphyde. It was like a dungeon explorer, and I just, these amazing games, and they were very complex. And if you remember the ColecoVision back then, I mean, the controller looked like a phone, and it had like like 9 buttons. So like you had to memorize these different commands and numbers and stuff to actually play that game. So we stuck with that for a while, and then as I, the first memories as far as gaming is definitely taking me to the arcades. And I believe that's when my love and passion for Sega really started, because they dominated the arcades, at least in the area I was from. In New York, it was, it was the Hang-On. I never forget seeing that.
Yeah.
the bicycle controller, that the sound system, that that doom 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 doom. Like I was just blown away. Like, what is this? And you play it. I remember that game like it was the back of my head, man. So. Yeah, I used to spend so many quarters in that, and then that elevated, obviously, to Shinobi, which is where my namesake is kind of from. And I'll never forget, I've told the story at ILP a bunch of times. There was like a local kid in my area who was just so good at the game, and I was just in awe of him. He would 1 quarter, and he would go through the entire game. And if you remember, like, Shinobi Arcade was extremely hard. Like, there was times you had to use ninja magic, and he was just so good. And I just said to myself as a kid, like, one day I'm going to own this game, and one day I'm going to be as good as him. So that's kind of where it started. It just, like, elevated from there. And then as far as console, my first console, my mom kind of came around. She started to see my passion with video games, and then the first console I got was the Sega Master System. And
me too.
Yeah, Master System was it, man. I had the cards, the My Hero.
My Hero. Yes.
Remember My Hero?
Oh yeah.
endless hard, difficult game. And I remember. Once I got it, I Solve. I went to school with Solve. We were together in school since like the 3rd grade. Okay. So I remember, and he saw it, he was amazed. So he's like, he was debating what console he should get first. And the NES was popular, but he did enjoy the Master System, so he ended up getting like this amazing deal with a Double Dragon for the Master System free when he got it.
It was the better version.
It was because it was the better version. It had 2-player co-op, unlike the NES version. And oh man, me and Saul would play that thing for hours, and that's kind of, again, that's just where the Sega stuff developed. I eventually ended up getting an NES and stuff like that, but it definitely started with Sega as a foundation, moved on to Nintendo, and then King had everything. So King was my, I basically, he was my test bed before I would purchase. So he would get the Japanese import of the Super Nintendo and and all these other systems. And I remember I had the Genesis because I stayed along my Sega lines. But I'll never forget the day he had the SNES because he's like, yo, you got to come over. So I'm like, all right. So me and Saul, we go, and I'll never forget, bro. He had Pilot Wings, and F-Zero is what did it for me.
Oh yeah.
Because I saw Mode 7 and 3D scaling for the first time, and Ains, I was like, Genesis ain't doing that. Like,
it's true.
You felt it.
True.
Oh, man.
You felt it. You felt the level of graphical fidelity, and you're just like, wow, like, games are changing. Like, this is, Sega had the blast processing, the fast, the great music and stuff, but even Nintendo sound chip and Mode 7, like, those were revolutionary. So that blew my mind. I went back home to my Genesis. I'm like, we got to have a talk. But yeah, man, those are the early days, man. Just the arcades, getting the new systems when they come out, and then, getting King's hand-me-downs when he was finishing for a cheap price. And that's how we did it, man. We just rocked on out all the way through, man.
God, man. F-Zero, it's funny you mentioned that because that and Pilot Wings were for me, too. Because I used to, back then, my mom would allow me every weekend to rent one game from Blockbuster.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Nice. And that would be my game for that weekend. And I remember I had Genesis, same thing as you, and I rented a Super Nintendo. Remember you could rent the consoles?
Yes.
And I rented a Super Nintendo with Mario World and F-Zero. And between F-Zero's, the Mode 7, like you said, and if you remember in Mario World, the first time you went into a cavern, the sound, all the sound you did echoed. And it was the first time I had ever experienced a game where sound echoed. And it sounds stupid today, right? But at the time, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. It sounds like you're actually in a cave.
Revolutionary. And shout out to Super Nintendo
and so I told my mom, same thing. I was like, oh man, I kind of need a Super Nintendo.
That's when you realized at the time you had to have both consoles. You had to.
Yeah, right. And we realized that early on, right?
Yeah, well, my brother he got the Super Nintendo, and I had the Genesis.
Okay.
So, and then the CD and then the 32X.
Oh, whoa.
That thing was like a monster. That thing was awesome. Gosh, I missed that thing.
It was like a Constructicon.
Yeah, it was. It was so
Oh,
awesome.
baby, let's go.
Man, what was it? Gosh, it was that Star
Form
Wars
Devastator.
game, like the X-Wing game for the 32X
Yeah.
game. Oh my gosh, I played the hell out of that.
That's worth
game.
money now. Did you still have it?
No, of course not. Because I was a child. I was just like, yeah, what's the next thing? I go trade this in, you know.
Yeah, we were stupid. Should have still kept it all.
Back in the day, man.
Cog, did you ever play
yeah.
Venture?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
There we go.
I had
That's
Venture.
the game I missed the most, and I have the similar kind of background with my dad, and he that was the game we kind of bonded over the first time, and
Nice.
that and Zaxxon.
Zaxxon
those
classic.
Oh,
games,
Zaxxon
man.
was so good.
I still,
Yes.
anytime I go to an old arcade, I still play it. If it's there.
Yeah.
Remember, Bert had never heard of Zaxxon.
Yeah, this is. God.
Are you serious?
I swear. He
Man.
thought we were
Wow.
crazy.
Zaxxon.
Yeah, Zaxxon kind of helped you with depth perception and like
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
diving and you had to be very accurate the way you maneuvered that ship.
Oh,
And-
yeah,
oh
yeah.
Very.
So cool.
Oh, there
so
there
cool.
was no room for error in
No.
those games, man.
Nope.
Oh yeah, none.
Yeah, they weren't taking those internet complaints back then.
No, they didn't care. Oh man, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
classic.
Classics, man.
So yeah, man. So from there, let's see. That's 16-bit era, right? And then we get into original PlayStation. Were you still gaming? Did you ever have a gap
Oh, yeah.
in your gaming history?
No, man, I was pretty hardcore. I mean, for me, just to back you up a second, I did the 16-bit era. Now, I remember the Genesis and the CDs and all that stuff came out, kind of stuck with it. But the 32-bit era, I was indecisive. I didn't know what to do. So at the time, I fell victim to the 3DO.
Oh, I had a 3DO. I did too.
Yeah, man. I'll never
that-
forget, man.
Remember when they announced the M2 was going to come out and beat everything?
Yes. I was just about to tell you that story because shout out to King. Me and him, I forgot how we got it, but we got an invite from Trip Hawkins himself.
Really?
Trip Hawkins I think because the event for the M2 was happening in New York. And somehow I got access to this email. And I'm like, King, 3DO, M2, we got to go. And I'll never forget it, man. I mean, we went there, and let's put it this way. That's what I realized at a young age, what a vertical slice was. Yo, Dan, man, this thing what they showed on screen looked better than Forza Horizon now. Like, we were like, oh my God, this is going to be crazy 3DOs, because at the end, at that point, they were kind of losing steam. PlayStation was coming, and we loved the 3DO. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Road Rash. I mean, I've talked to Bill Stillwell at nauseum about this. One of the best Road Rashes I've ever played.
Yep.
At the time.
Return Fire.
Madden. Oh yes. Oh, Return Fire. Crystal Dynamics had like 2 games that were outstanding. Total Eclipse, and it was another game. We also got Naughty Dog's early entry, Way of the Warrior, a Mortal
That's right.
Kombat ripoff. It was funny, but they had some good games. A lot of their titles were arcade perfect. They had an arcade super perfect Super Street Fighter Turbo, and I loved the 3DO, man. I really did. It was a shame it didn't take off the way it should. But so when the M2 came around, we were trying to see, still stick with it, and it eventually did not come out. But then that transitioned us. Okay, what are we gonna do next? And I looked at Sony, and at the time, the Sony connection for me was much stronger because I gotta be honest, Dan. Like, I kind of lost faith. I fell out with Sega around Saturn. Sov
Me
stayed
too.
loyal because
Me too.
Sov was a 2D guy, so he loved the Saturn. But when I saw a PlayStation and that the evolution to 3D and Battle Arena Toshinden and all these amazing games, Jumping Flash, and what did it for me was Tekken, because Tekken is my favorite fighting game of all time. So I remember seeing that in the arcade with, I believe, the Namco, the System 16 board or whatever it was called. And I'm like, wow, this is a cool game, Combat Virtual Fighter. And getting that same exact experience at home on the PlayStation 1 with extras and sub-bosses and cinemas. And I'm like, I think that was the realization that the home console caught up to the arcade. And I'm like, okay, this is arcade perfect. This is exactly what I played, and that's when my love for Sony really started, and Ridge Racer and all that stuff. So I was there day one, and King was there a year ahead with the Japanese version. So I got a chance to play. I just had to remember the X and the circle button were reversed when you played those versions. That's it.
Yeah. I just remember reading about when PlayStation first came out in '94 in Japan, and it just took over. You know, it was like it was the impending wave coming to the U.S.
Yes,
and the game that did it for me on PS1 was Destruction Derby.
Destruction Derby.
I freaking love that game, man. Just seeing all the little pieces of the cars smash, was like revolutionary again. It was like I've never seen anything like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game. Classic.
Yeah, no doubt.
Man, it was my first year of college when the PlayStation hit, and
you're old.
I know. I remember going through when it came out. I had it pre-ordered. I had it ready to go. I was living in the dorms up in Iowa City, and there, it was. I got it. Battle Arena Toshinden.
Yeah,
that was it.
Classic.
And it was just, I was just like, this is nuts, man. And that was probably the beginning of the like hardcore Dan gamer. You know what I mean? I loved everything before that, and I loved playing and everything. But when that came out, I was just like, this is nuts. Goodbye, Sega CD.
Yeah. I kind of, Dan, I'm with you. I kind of betrayed Sega, dude. That PlayStation had me, man.
Yeah, me too. Because if you remember, right, Sega tried that sneaky thing by doing that May launch, and it landed flat as hell.
Yep.
And then PlayStation came out in fall with a better lineup, better technology, and just wiped the floor with them.
Wiped the floor. It wasn't even close, man. It wasn't even close. Yeah.
And then then we get into Dreamcast, which I loved, and I was there day one on that.
Yes.
Good old $99.99.
Oh yeah, $9.99. Listen, man. Shout out to Stinger and the guys from NLG. They know my passion for Dreamcast was, as a Sega kid, that was the last hurrah. But man, it was such a great last hurrah because I'll never forget. Probably one of the greatest launch lineups in history. You had also, Shenmue at that time was revolutionary for its time when it came out. Soul
Crazy
Calibur
Taxi was amazing.
Crazy Taxi! I love that game. Oh, man. It was so silly, but it looked phenomenal.
Yeah, it played like the arcade. Soul Calibur, like you said, was a game changer.
Yeah, Soul Calibur was a game changer. And then let's remember that if you're a sports guy, the 2K series, right?
Oh yeah.
Seeing those games those were the best sports games at the time, and it was just so cool. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing, man. That was because it was Visual Concepts at the time, right? And
they were untouchable, man.
Untouchable, man. It just the graphical we've never seen anything like that at that time. So I was completely blown away. They even had the little it was a little gimmicky, but it was cool. The little what is it? The MU, the VMU, the little unit you put inside. Yeah, kind of thing and stuff like that. But so many good memories. I mean, it was definitely. And I'm a big Peter Moore fanboy, so to see him behind it, and obviously when he talked about it later when he went over to Xbox, how much he loved that system as well. And it kind of fueled him to go to Xbox because he said he wanted to beat PlayStation for what they did to his Dreamcast. Kind of thing.
He's one of the few that'll speak openly and honestly about that type of stuff.
That's why I love him. Peter Moore will always be my guy. Like, I mean, he's a Sega guy through and through, and just to chart his journey, EA and all that stuff, and then owning a damn, the sports team, and
a Premier League team. Yeah,
Premier League, man.
He's up there, and he started in. He started from pretty much nothing in England when he was young. He's one of those guys that just accomplished it all.
Yeah, man. Salute to Liverpool and those dudes. I got a chance to go out there. Met him one time, but it was a tremendous experience.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, definitely one of the guys I'd like to meet sometime.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, man. So always fun talking about the old times. It's easy to, get so used to the new technology, you forget about how far we've come.
Oh, yeah.
I think actually, in my opinion, one of the problems we have today, we've gotten so spoiled with everything being instant and how much accessibility we have. We'll run into like a little bug in a game and we'll be like, this game's goddamn broken. I should have paid. It's like, God, you don't know what we used to deal with.
Oh yeah. You had no idea, man.
No.
What? We're doing things without any save states.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna beat that game in one session, or you're not gonna beat it.
Or you not beating it. Exactly. Exactly, man. Oh, I hear what you're saying completely.
All right, so let's. Why don't we go ahead and get into some stuff? It became a real good week to have you on because we got PAX coming, we got PS5 stuff, we got E3 news, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. So we'll start this week. We always start with our weekly poll, and I thought this was appropriate given the conversation that we'll lead into the PS5 with, and that's just hearing from our audience and our followers. What's the most you're willing to spend on the PS5 and/or Series X at launch? And I figured our audience would be more hardcore on this. I was a little surprised by the results. So, surprisingly, I didn't expect this, but 17% said $399, which
that's huge.
Which $399 is, it's not happening.
Yeah,
gonna tell you that. Right. Majority of people, 49%, said $499, which is, I think, probably representative of where most of the mass market is. I would think. 16% said $599, and then you had the hardcore people like us probably that said we're buying them no matter what.
Yeah, it's us.
But it's kind of funny that once you get above $500, you've only got 33% of people. A third of people are willing to spend more than $500, at least our audience, on launch console. So that can really factor in here. And I know there's always been that notion that if you go over $499, you're out of touch. You guys still think that's true in today's market with the technology we're going to see in the Series X and PS5? Carl, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, I'll be honest, when the Xbox One X launched, I initially thought 500 was a mistake. And I was just like, oh, man, I was like, damn, they need to come lower. They need to be aggressive. I don't know if in this day and time, people would buy a $500 console. And the Xbox One X did pretty well. It did really well. They obviously advertised it well. But, so that definitely opened my eyes that maybe things are changing. At the back of my mind, I'm always still going to remember the PS3 launch and the $600 kind of fiasco. So that still looms on me. I don't know, man. I mean, times have changed, but at the same time, it's like, I think it's going to I know we're going to talk about it. It's all going to be relative to what is actually shown, and the software, and getting people excited to buy it. And, both companies seem to have different approaches. So my gut still says, no, you shouldn't do this, at 600, but we'll see. Maybe times have changed.
Yeah, I mean, for $500, I mean, that's the sweet spot, right? And I think that's what everybody's kind of expecting. I don't know that. I mean, I wish it was $399. Don't get me wrong. I mean, shout out to those 17%.
Shout out to the
17%. Man, I mean, if that's what happens, then fantastic for everybody. But yeah, we know that's not going to happen. But yeah, as you said, 33%. Is at $699 or whatever it takes to get, or $599. I'm sorry, $600. I don't know, man. Like even me, if they're going to come out and like hit us with like a $600 price tag for both of them,
right?
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
I it's tough for me because the way Xbox is doing it, with being able to play basically anything that's going to be coming out for the next year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is, they decide, on my current console, is that enough for me to jump over if it's going to be priced at $600? Is that extra $100 going to do it for me? Probably not. I mean, really, in reality, I'm probably just going to buy the damn thing. But
I was going to say, you're going to buy it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, I'm probably going to buy it. Now, if PlayStation comes out and they say, okay, well, ours is, $500. If there's a discrepancy in prices, that's going to cause, I think a lot of Twitter issues. But other than that, not a whole lot, I'm interested to see what they got. But I know we're going to talk about this here in a little bit. So, interesting numbers for sure. I really thought that it'd be, more whatever it costs. That's
me too.
Right.
But I think people are expecting that $499. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think so too. And then, so we'll move right into it, right? So we got a little, I think those people may have got a little bit of a wake-up call this week when Sony basically came out and said that they're having trouble, figuring out price. Because let's be honest here, the technology in these new machines, is more advanced, and therefore it's leading to higher prices. And you've also got market realizations of competing manufacturers of products, right? Smartphones, laptops, all those things that are trying to use this memory. Specifically, they called out DRAM and NAND memory being very sought after this year for manufacturers. And remember that Samsung just came out last week and had their whole debut with their new phones. And so, you're talking about millions and millions of units that are going to be using this stuff. So what came out is, as I said, they're looking at the estimate is about $450 to manufacture the PS5. And so for context, for people who don't follow this stuff, remember that's literally just manufacturing costs. That doesn't include getting it packaged, getting it shipped, the upmark for retail stores, etc. So even selling at $500, Sony's probably looking at a loss on every console sold. And for Sony in particular, they can take that hit. Sony's not a poor company by any means, but they're not in the position to take a big hit as well as Xbox is for a number of reasons we'll probably get to as well. And so if you're Jim Ryan right now, I have to imagine you're sitting in a very uncomfortable spot of saying they may be in a spot right now where it's going to be we'll just guess, it's $520 to get a PS5 on a shelf, right? We know it's less advanced than the Xbox One X, or Series X, excuse me. Damn it, Xbox. Series X. And what the hell's going to happen if Microsoft comes out and says ours is $499? We're taking a loss on every unit, and we have the inferior hardware. That's not a good place to be in.
This is true. I don't. This is where I think me and you will disagree.
Okay.
I don't think that the hardware is going to be as big of a gap as, say, what the X is and say what a PlayStation is.
Yeah, we talked about that a little before, right?
So I don't think that's going to matter as much. Because we've talked about this before too. What sells these consoles is is the services, the software. That's where Xbox is pushing it. It's not the exclusive games. I never thought that ever, because you look at like I said, Spider-Man sold 30 million copies. It's 12% of what actually how many PlayStations are out there. So 100 whatever million. So it's, to me, if they come out in the hardware, it's got to be such a big gap between the two of them. If this one's running, if they're both running at 4K 60, which I'm guessing they do, because that's probably the target now, then I really don't care if it's like a 3-second load time difference, or if it's, if I'm a normal person that's, just going to go out and buy a console.
No. We talked about that. Mass market is different, right? It's more about perception among the hardcore gamers.
Right, yeah. Right. So I think it's, but the hardcore gamers will perceive as like, you'll have Xbox guys saying, well, their software, their hardware is inferior, but they're still selling it this. They're going to, it's not going to matter, because they'll probably still outsell the Xbox if they're the same price, I'm guessing. Because you have to just do the ecosystem, do the install base already. Due to the fact that you can't, potentially you won't be able to have, like those games will be coming out specifically for the first party for PlayStation 5, like whatever, like say The Last of Us 3 or something, you'll be able to play that on PlayStation 5, you won't be able to play that on the PlayStation 4. Whereas like Halo Infinite, you can play it on, the Xbox One X, the Series X, so that's, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. I think the ecosystem is already developed and the infrastructure is already there. Whatever happens, I don't think, if I'm a guy that's going to buy one of these things and the hardware difference isn't that big of a difference, then I'm going to go with the cheapest one. And if they're the same, I'm going to go with the ecosystem that I've already been.
So your point really is that it's going to come down to what you're more comfortable with as a player, assuming the price is equal. Yeah,
if it's all equal, then I don't think the hardware is going to.
Yeah, especially knowing that devices and games are going to carry over, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you think, Cog?
Man, this was definitely a big news week when this dropped. I didn't see this coming. And it makes sense because I know, as a smartphone guy, I'm a Samsung guy. I'm going to be getting the S20. They got 3 models out, so it makes sense that there's going to be these DRAM, these NAND memory issues, and that is going to affect consoles. As far as, like you said, you made a great point, Ains. People are throwing the 450 number around, but like you said, that's just to manufacture. We're not talking about the packaging or anything else. So, the question then, it puts Sony in a unique position because, the question becomes, we've seen the success of the PlayStation 4. We've seen, how much they were able to undercut Microsoft and then also still make profit, right? They undercut them at the overall price, but they still profited. So that's one. Another thing that we know benefited the last generation was the fact that, they were the more powerful system, right? So you had Xbox One, what was $500 less powerful, whereas Sony had $400. It was the perfect storm. I mean, and then we all know about the infamous marketing. This is how you trade games. It was the perfect storm for Sony. Everything went great. This is different. The question internally is going to become, are they willing to, take a loss on hardware, right, and go all out on services, or say, hey, there's part of inside, shareholders inside to say, hey, we may need to make a profit, and keep that $500 price point. And if that's the case, then I say that's advantage Microsoft, because then Microsoft can say, boom, we match you at $5. And now we kind of have a role reversal because, theoretically, they would be the more powerful system at the same price. And then coupled with the fact that, who knows how they're going to market Game Pass. Is it going to be, something that's going to be a pack-in as far as a month to 3 months? Because to me, that's very attractive. As a new console, you can
play Halo Infinite and Forza 8 on day one at no extra cost.
On day,
that's the key, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be Game Pass.
That's the key, because to me, if Microsoft does this correctly, I even said to myself, even if it is $600, let's just say we look at the manufacturing cost for the Xbox Series X, and it's $520 or whatever it may be, right? And they say, hey, we're going to do $600. I even said to myself, $600 for them is fine. I would prefer them $5, but $600 is fine if they can market and say, hey, one, you get it with Game Pass, you have all these games at launch. That's an attractive deal. You essentially buy the system without having to buy a game if they gave you a month to 3 months. Then we all know that they're still going to do the Lockhart approach, right? On the lower end. So they're okay. They have the flexibility, I feel, to kind of go where they want. And it's going to be, that's why I think you see the trepidation with Sony saying, hey, let's wait, right? Let's see what Microsoft's going to do at E3. Let's pay attention then, and because we don't want to jump out the window, and say our price now, and then these guys match. This is one of the most fun cat and mouse games I've seen, in a while, and I'm just excited, Ace. I want to see how this thing plays out, because at the end of the day, let's be real, this benefits us as a consumer. This
of course,
this internal,
and I'm buying them both anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just like watching it unfold.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Yeah, man. This is it. I'm curious to know how Sony's mindset is when it comes to profit. Are they willing to take, the loss, take a hardware at a loss, and then go hard on, subscription services? We know Jim Ryan definitely wants to get that. And as, I know we're going to talk about, the active user thing. That's the elephant in the room, right? That's the thing that I think a lot of PlayStation fans were surprised, when they actually saw that, because I know Microsoft kind of been touting that a little bit more publicly, and I think this is the first time I've seen Sony tout active users. So
yeah,
that's what I feel on that.
Yeah, and so I think the Game Pass point is important,
right?
Very important, and because I actually, Benji Sales, he's one of the analysts on Twitter that we all know and talk to, and I posted a comment to him yesterday that he liked, and I made the comparison of what some people are missing. I know guys like us kind of get this approach, right? Is that Microsoft has set themselves up very, very well here, and because the Xbox One kind of took the failure to set them up to where they are now. This is a long game for them, and the pieces are coming together. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the revenue for Microsoft, or Xbox, excuse me, not Microsoft, because that'll take all day. Xbox, their revenue comes from accessories and services, and then software, right? Yes. Whereas PlayStation comes from software primarily, and then services second fold, right? And why that matters so much here at launch is Sony has to at least think we're not going to be as successful out of the gate as the PS4 was, because as Cog just said, that was a perfect storm. Those opportunities to pounce on your competition and dominate them, that's not going to happen again. And so Microsoft comes in, or I keep saying Microsoft, but Xbox comes in with the capability of being able to take more of a loss on the console, in my opinion, because they can get people into those services and their money is coming from those services, whereas PlayStation is more invested in needing to sell software, and they can't take that same type of hit as Microsoft can. A lot of people point to Microsoft being a $1 trillion company, but while I think that's obviously a point, obviously worth mentioning, there's still not a lot of big companies. I don't care how much money you have. There's not a lot of executives that want to hear, hey, we're going to take a $500 million loss here.
Right.
It's more about if you get people into the ecosystem on the Xbox side, they're set up better to make more revenue because of services than Sony is, at least today.
Right. But now what would it take, really, I mean, to just say, okay, well, here's PS Now. We're going to bundle it just like Ultimate is doing. You can download games day one. There can't be a whole lot of infrastructure behind that because they already have PS Now, you know, and it's not, it's all right, you know, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's all right, you know, but once, if they were to come out and say that, I mean, immediately you're going to have a ton of people going, oh, $15 a month and I get, you know, games day one, first party games released day one on this, you know, can they do that, you know, within this, between now and say November, whenever they release it, you know, how much infrastructure is needed to, you know, build, you know, and would that be successful for them at this point? You know, not even at launch, you know, because you like Microsoft is doing. They've been doing this for the last few years.
Like I said, they've set themselves up for this.
Right. Yeah. So now, how long would it take? I mean, I'm asking you guys. I mean, I don't think it would take much to just flip a switch. And go, hey, here you go. We got PS Now. You can download these games anyway.
The network engineers right now are screaming.
A switch.
They're cringing at us. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, obviously, we don't think it would be too difficult.
Go ahead, Carl.
But I mean, the philosophy to me, they seem hesitant when it comes to the first party day and date. Even with what they currently have right now at PS Now, you know, they had God of War in there for a limited time, right? An older game for the first party exclusives. I think that seems to be where the philosophy, I mean, they've even, I forgot who it was, don't quote me, but made a statement like they still value, you know, the exclusivity of first party, you know, to themselves and not necessarily day and date, which is a complete opposite from Microsoft. Microsoft was saying, hey, our first party, you know, is going to be in there. So I don't know, man. I don't know if they're willing to. I don't think it's an issue from a technical standpoint. If they can do it, I'm pretty confident they can do it. But it's from a philosophy standpoint, they have not shown me yet that they're willing to be that aggressive. To me, it's the same wait and see approach. Just everything from them I get is wait and see. Let's see how this goes. We almost dip our toe in the water first, see how much success we get with it, then we get advanced a little further. Whereas Microsoft is extremely aggressive for the past 2 years. Hey, day and date, this comes out bleeding edge. Like I almost felt like I was cheating when I got Outer Worlds, you know.
No kidding. I'm like, and Gears 5.
Gears, like it felt like I'm getting away with something, like as a gamer, you know. So it's interesting, man. Time will tell if they change philosophy on that.
Sounds like a Jim Ryan problem.
Oh yeah. This is why Jim Ryan's making $10 million a year, right?
Yep, he's got to make these decisions.
Yeah, but I mean, and you guys kind of touched on it, but the last thing we're going to touch on here is Sony's CEO, and there seems to be some confusion here. So Jim Ryan's the CEO of PlayStation, division of Sony. Kenichiro, I'm probably saying that wrong, Yoshida is the CEO of Sony, and so he's the parent company, obviously, right? The Nadella to Phil Spencer. But Yoshida came out and said PlayStation should be judged by the number of active users, not the number of units sold. And I think that took people aback who don't, again, it shouldn't, because that's where gaming is heading, but some people are still stuck in this antiquated mindset of its number of consoles
Consoles
sold.
mean everything, Ains. It's all about console sales. I don't care.
It's hard, right? Because it feels like you're banging your head against a wall. Like, this is, if you know anything about business, and all of these people saying it's console sold will log into Netflix and watch a goddamn show tonight.
Yep.
Preach.
It's just, they don't get it. So it was refreshing almost to see Sony CEO say this.
Yeah.
Because it's just, that's the way it is. That's the way it's going. So it's good, right? Because we know, no matter what the idiot, the hashtag Twitter guys.
Yeah, Twitter guys.
Gotta call them out. No matter what they say, Sony knows what the long game is. They see it, right?
Facts.
They're not blind. They're just not structured, as we've talked about. They don't have the infrastructure today to match what Microsoft has already done. And that's why they're making moves like signing the deal for Azure, because long term, they know they have to get there. And I think they will. Exactly. I don't think PlayStation's in trouble by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But it's just, the environment's changing, and I think it's fun to watch this whole thing unfold.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. But you're right. It is weird. We talked about it last week a little bit between the two of us, Cog, that it is weird to see Sony hesitant, because they've been so dominant since the launch of the PS4 that it's weird to see them hesitant. I know you had a slightly different view, that you thought they were more like, we don't really have to do anything.
Right. They're kind of resting under the laurels at this point.
But I think that time is closing.
Yeah. I think with and then the addition of xCloud, I still don't think that's like a huge thing yet, but it's got the potential to be something amazing.
Well, we talked, it's more, it's not necessarily North America,
right?
That's
but we looked
Asia.
at South Korea, where they experience this huge number of increases, and that's going to be, I think, a nice subsidiary, kind of thing for them. But it's I'm kind of sticking to it. It's I don't think it's going to matter too much. You can't rest on your laurels too much, because eventually the tech is just going to outrun you, and I just don't think. Like, if they were to come out now, today, and say what I said with the PS Now and just start, it would make a huge, huge difference going into next gen. You can't do it. You wait till it comes out and be like, oh, this is what we're going to do. When people have already pre-ordered, people are already, they're already set on their ways, and, active users, they don't have to worry about active users. They got a ton of them. Tons and tons of them. And, it's, I don't know, man. I don't like getting caught up too much in the money side of the stuff, but at the same time, it's super annoying when you just get on a thing and you see a guy just reply, Xbox sucks. Like, it's dead. And, it's just like, oh, that's a hot take, dipshit. But, and that's what it normally is. It's guys bringing out, that's Twitter guys.
Hashtag Twitter guys.
Hashtag Twitter
yeah,
guys.
we coined that a few weeks ago, Cog. They're,
what is it?
I think, I don't know how we even got onto that, but we've named those idiots online hashtag Twitter guys. So
Twitter dads.
That's about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that running around, man. A lot of, we call it corporate pocket watching, A lot of people, thinking they know the business better than the companies themselves.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. It's just really funny. I think, you guys said it best, too. It's just like, again, coming from the old school, it's always used to be, about the console sales, and I get it, but it's just, again, a lot of people are really struggling with this transition as far as how the metrics are changing and what is actually more valuable to these corporations, and that's, I think, where we're in this transitionary period between this archaic way it only has to be this metric and this way versus where the industry is actually going, and it also you see a lot of it with even with the whenever a port comes to PC, oh good lord, you know what I'm saying? Like the console guys, they get emotional, man. They're like, they feel betrayed, and I'm just like, if you're having enjoyment of this game, right, it should not affect you if another group is now being able to play said game, and the company that you like that make that game is actually benefiting and profiting so that they can do better. So it's like, it's just this emotional, selfish, mine. Them days are over, man. Y'all got to get that. These companies are in the business of making money. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about how this bothers you, and you're not going to buy any more games because you've already purchased. You're in. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny to me, man. It's absolutely hilarious to see what happens on Twitter. I am thoroughly entertained by that foolishness.
It is true, though. It's bizarre at times. We were joking last week. It's like, yeah, we're sure that Microsoft, with their billion-dollar market cap, named CEO of the Year in Nadella, Phil Spencer, who's one of 16 top executives at Microsoft. I'm sure they're listening to your asshole self on Twitter, saying that you're not going to buy his game. Crazy, man.
That's it, man.
I don't know. People's self-importance gets a little too high.
Yes.
I think it sounds.
Yeah, you realize that one thing I've learned with Twitter and stuff like that is that you realize that sometimes the loudest and the hardcore are really such a minority of what's going on.
Yes,
and you just
absolutely.
gotta not pay any mind. Mm-hmm.
In fact, hell, I think we all wish some developers would realize that with some of their games sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nintendo guys.
Jesus.
Nintendo guys can suck it.
Easy. No, I got to defend the
Whoa, we took a turn.
Whoa.
We took a turn.
That was a segue.
Segue. Dan with the Switchlander.
I'm just joking, Nintendo guys. I love you.
Oh my God.
Oh, good.
I won't mention how Miyamoto and Reggie wouldn't even let me take a picture of them. We won't talk about that.
Damn. Oh gosh.
Jesus.
Oh,
if you don't let people
funny.
take a picture of you're too self-important. I don't care who.
No, it's real. It's real. I saw them at only time I met Reggie one time, and it was behind the scenes control. And we were waiting for Lake and those guys, and it was me and Sam Tolbert. We were there, and they come in, and dude, I was just about to say, hey, he had like 4 or 5 arms, like security, step in front of me, like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, hey, I was just trying to get a picture with But he actually did. He was cool. He came over. He was like, hey, guys, whatever. But yeah, they were not allowing any of that to go down, man. I was like, damn, this guy comes
crazy.
through with a Rainbow
Miyamoto
16.
In E3 2018. We're just walking, just walking down the hallway. And Bert and I stood there, and I was like, oh, just a picture from afar, not even with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, stop.
Bodyguard literally reached out and put his hand over my phone.
No.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Wow. That I never
crazy.
experienced. Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. Thou shalt not.
Oh man.
All right.
Wow.
So let's talk about E3 then.
All right.
Because we got that. It sounds crazy, right? We're less than 4 months away.
4 months away.
And as we know, that ramps up well ahead of time. So this week we actually ran a story because the E3 site went live, and it had the initial list of exhibitors. And for the first time that at least we could tell in recent history, Nintendo wasn't listed. And so that started the rumor mill, right? Of is Nintendo pulling out of E3? And that caused a whole bunch of stir. Later that day, ESA provided an official statement, which is more what I want to talk to, that Nintendo is indeed attending. But more interesting, I think, is that Xbox was listed. And they are now listed as an official exhibitor on the E3 site. So if you recall, for those who maybe haven't been or aren't aware of the structure, because I ran into a bunch of people who didn't really seem to know how E3 works. But Microsoft owns the Microsoft Theater right across the street from the Coliseum and the Convention Center. And so while Microsoft has an E3 event, they do their press conference, they do the show and all that, it's actually not in E3 proper, which is the Convention Center. And they haven't been for a few years. So the fact that they're listed as an actual exhibitor this year is interesting because that would mean that, of course, they're going to do something in the actual Convention Center.
I'm calling it now. Yes. The X will be there. The Series X.
The Series X will be on the show floor.
On the show floor.
Oh.
Yes. Running Metroid Prime 4 right next to Nintendo.
All right. So you think, because and I know, we experienced this, right? The Microsoft Theater is fantastic.
Yeah.
But when you get a lot of people in there, their stage capabilities, it's pretty small.
It's pretty small, and then you have that.
Yeah, it's hard to fit a ton of people in there. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do the same thing they did last year with having their own theater and show and all that stuff. But to your point, also have a section in the actual exhibition hall with Series X and Halo. Halo Infinite's going to play a big role.
This year, is they're letting a lot more fans in, right? It's supposed to be like the new.
I think either 5 or 10,000.
Right. Yeah. So this is the perfect opportunity to get it out there, show it everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the people
Well,
that
and
are going
Sony's
to
not there again. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So, let it out in the wild, man. Just if you got it, man, let it
agree.
flap all over the place. That's what I'm saying.
Let it swing. Let it swing.
That's this thing I haven't heard, but I'm using it from now on.
Let it swing and hit your knees, whatever you got to do, man. Just show them who's boss. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's it. We affectionately call it putting your meat on the table.
That's exactly what it should be called.
They're just going to flop it and yell domino.
Yeah, Phil Spencer's going to whip it out and just be like, boom! There it is.
That's what you got to do, man.
Oh,
Listen,
man. So what do you think, Cog?
I
You think we're going to be fortunate enough to see Xbox in the actual convention hall as well as across the street?
I think so, and this is news to me. I'm glad you brought this up because, like you said, in the past, they were not listed there. Like they would have that again, their separate thing, which they're going to continue to do in the Microsoft Theater. But them being there, to me, is huge, and I think it makes sense. It makes sense because again, you're doing a new console launch. Sony's not there, and then the way it used to be set up in the past. I mean, for those who go to E3, like Nintendo section is huge in E3.
Yeah.
Like they have a dominant presence of playable units, third-party games, their first-party games, and then in the past, the opposite side would be Sony, right? And they'd have all their games and so on and so forth, and they'd have a strong presence on the E3 floor. And I think it's the South Hall. I forget which hall it is, but that's where that.
The two of them basically took up one of the halls.
Wow.
Yes. So it would be such a smorgasbord of games. So if Microsoft now takes that spot, and then like Dan said, you have the Xbox Series X. This will be post-show, right? People that we've already seen what they've had to show. Most we know Halo Infinite is going to be there. Xbox Series X. This is the perfect time to really showcase and galvanize the people who actually showed up to get hands-on and take advantage of the fact that Sony's not there. I think this would be very smart for them to do. And I'm excited. Obviously we got a big group going, and have guys being able to, who think about people who are on the fence with Xbox after last generation, right? And everything went down with that. To give those guys hands-on. There's something to be said about that. And that's one thing I've always been a little critical of Sony lately. It's just that I miss that. I understand the ESA thing. I get that. But I just miss the fan level events, right? I miss the PlayStation experience. Yeah. It's such an important thing, right? I mean, we know you're the number one. We get it. But galvanize your base. Get your base excited about what's coming. And it's not a fanboying or anything. No one can tell me that Microsoft is so much better in that regard as far as fan service and as far as their executives being able to reach out and touch them, communicate them, ingratiate themselves to the base. And I think with a console launch, that is the perfect time to get that goodwill back, right? To get people to say, hey, Series X is coming. This is what you're going to play. This is what you're going to do. Hands-on right there. I think you got to do it. I think it's a smart move by Microsoft that if they're indeed on that floor with Nintendo.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's because you're right. We talked about that actually a few weeks ago, in that Sony has just seemingly forgotten about the fans. Now, it's good. We'll get to this, right? They're going to be at PAX East, which is awesome. Right. But they haven't done much in terms of fan service for the past year and a half, 2 years. But yeah, you're right. If Xbox can actually take some space on the floor, because I don't know if you saw this as well, Cog, but there were a lot of people who were just the Gamer Pass guys who were at the E3 proper, the halls, who didn't even realize that Microsoft was across the street, that you could just walk over there and walk in.
Good point. Yep,
yeah,
good point.
Free.
They didn't even realize that access allows them to walk in. That's a very good point.
Yeah, because I mean, that way you can say, okay, we've got the hall, you can do all this, and by the way, we're also across the street showing off X, Y, and Z, whatever else they want to show off. It's like a double dip.
Yes.
So it'll cost them a lot of money, but we've seen Xbox is ready to invest going into this gen. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Whip it out.
Yeah, I certainly hope it's true. That's for damn sure. So, but like I said, I mean, it's on the official listing, so it means something, right? Xbox is absolutely 100% doing something at E3.
Wow.
So we'll see.
That's cool.
By the way, if you are listening and plan on attending E3, it just went up yesterday, the official site to get your Gamer Pass. So if you want to go in and buy that, that is now live, so you can check that out. So, speaking of fans, PAX East is actually next weekend as you're listening to this. And I know, Cog, that's up in your guys' realm, no pun intended.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are going to be going. We talked about that actually last year when I was chatting with you, because I haven't been to a PAX, and you were telling me it's just a fantastic time. I need to do it. I couldn't get out for this show. I'm actually in Oklahoma City for work that week, but I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys and seeing what's going on. But I know you guys have plans for that. PlayStation is going to be there. So is Xbox. So we can expect Last of Us 2. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Grounded, the new game from Obsidian, and a bunch of other games. So what do you guys, I know you're looking forward to that. What are you guys' plans for that show?
Bro, literally same thing. I mean, it is, PAX East is definitely, like I told you before, it's my personal favorite. I mean, because a lot of times what happens is you'll get developers really for the first time showcasing their games. And it's such a more intimate experience, I feel. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Outside of Microsoft Fan Fest. Microsoft Fan Fest is the most intimate. Like, nothing beats them on that. But as far as, like, just the industry as a whole, and as far as indie developers and just even other AA, AAA studio publishers and stuff like that. It's really cool to just be hands on, seeing these games for the first time. And it's like they're pitching it to you, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And it's so cool. And as far as like Sony's like presence is pretty strong here. Last of Us 2. We're gonna beeline over to that. We're gonna get we're gonna try to get Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's a lot of stuff we're hearing, and then we're seeing a lot. We're getting emails are starting to come in as far as making appointments. The indie scene right now, wow. There's some stuff that I'm like, I cannot believe. This stuff looks amazing. And then we're starting to see a couple of cross-generational third-party titles that we know are going to come to the Series X and the PlayStation 5 that look phenomenal. So, appointments are booked. It's going to be a lot of work, but it doesn't even feel like work because we're so excited to see what's going on. We're going to try to touch base with Obsidian. In Exile is going to be there, I believe, with Wasteland 3 as well.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a ton of stuff. I'm hearing Sony Santa Monica, Respawn, Ubisoft will have a lot to show. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. It's going to be, Lords will be out there from, I believe, the 26th. All the way until that Sunday of March 1st, and we're going to try to line you guys up with as much coverage as we can and get some articles pumping for lordsofgaming.net as well. So I'm super pumped. This is one of my favorite events of the year, and I get a chance to see a lot of these developers and see the latest projects that they have to showcase.
Man,
that's awesome.
Wish I was going.
Yeah. Hey, if you see Tunic or Biomutant, tell myself what's up.
Okay.
What you been up to? I'd like to see
Pull up. We'll pull up, no doubt.
Biomutant was at E3, and I think we talked about that because I played it. One thing I did learn, which may explain why that game's taken so long, is that's actually a very small team making that game. It's not a AAA team. It's something like 20 people are making that game.
Makes sense.
And it played well when I played it, but you're right, it has just been non-existent for a long time now.
What happened to Tunic?
Tunic I played last year as well. But that's being made by one guy.
Well, if you need some help, all I gotta do is call. I can't do anything. I'll get the hype train going. We can do something. Jeez.
Get the hype train going?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had one station at Xbox's theater with Tunic on it. It's being made by one guy.
Was he there?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he was there. The Hyperdot game that just came out, that's made by one guy. I spoke to him. Real nice guy. That's a cool game if you haven't checked that out. There's a lot of like ID at Xbox small games like that are a focus for them.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, dude.
Keep waiting.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. I keep waiting. No doubt, one guy. Salute one guy.
No, I got to get out the PAX East though. Remind me, Cog, where exactly is it?
All right, so it's in Boston, the Boston Convention Center.
Okay.
Like I said, it's usually Thursday. It's Thursday through a Sunday. So the
Yep.
Lords, we usually do Thursday through Saturday. But it's intense. It's fun. It's a lot of work, a lot of walking. Wear comfortable shoes because you're gonna be walking around a lot. Last year was really cool. We got a chance to see the Borderlands 3 reveal. We got a chance to meet Eddie Pitchford and them guys. And it's really cool. Like from a media perspective, and even if you don't get media, you can still hands-on with almost 80%, 90% of the things in there. It's pretty much a fan-friendly event. One of the coolest stories I had was I was going from appointment to appointment, and it's this really nice lady. She's like sees me and she's like, "Hey, you meet can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Look, miss, I'm kind of trying to get to my appointment. I wasn't trying to be rude." And then she's like, "No, could you please see our game?" Da, da, da. I'm like, back in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, I'll try." So I went and finished my appointment. I said, "You know what? She was so nice. Let me go back and see what this actual game was." And it was this game. The game was called Phelan, and it was amazing. It was like a spiritual successor to Zelda 2 for the NES, which was side-scrolling.
Yeah.
And it looked phenomenal. It had like a complex battle system, inventory system. I'm like, yo, this game is amazing. and I actually interviewed the dev, and he's like, look, we're very small. I think that the team is out of Miami. They're a small two-man team, and I'm being really cool with them. And then I said, look, I'm going to keep my eyes on this game. They had a Kickstarter going at the time. They reached their goal since then, and I'm hearing that they may be back. So they're getting close to finishing, whatever. So it'll be cool to you have stories like that where it's just you see where these guys are with development, and then the thing ends up blowing up. The same thing would happen with Kingdom Come Deliverance. We saw those guys from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just like, wow, this is like realistic Skyrim, yo. Like this could be something. And then to see the success of that game and the accolades oh man, and we'll get a chance to bump into those guys too as well. See what the new projects.
Oh yeah,
So
I ran into Rick last year as well on the way to Fest,
Rick.
Actually, I ran into him,
bro.
Yeah.
Rick and the crew, Toby and those guys. So it's those type of stories where you get to see things from the ground level. And then if it explodes, you really feel the joy. You see it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the coolest things, man. I really enjoy PAX. PAX East is by far one of my favorite events.
Man. Well, all right.
You got to do it. You got to do it, Ains.
Yeah. So
Oklahoma.
next year, I'll be there.
Next year, man.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Through.
I'm just gonna tell my work that week is off limits, and I'll be there. That's what I did for E3. We were actually planning something a couple weeks ago because I got to travel for different things, and it was like, all right, what about June? I think they said the week, was it June 10th, June 11th? Yeah. I was like, no, I'm out.
Yep.
So
we moved.
And when we getting Dan, we gotta get Dan one of these events, man. Dan,
telling you, I'm trying. Trust me, I'm trying. You
Dan,
tell him.
get out the house. Let's go.
I like my house.
I'm putting pressure on you live on your own podcast. Dan, come out the house and hang with the Lords.
Here's the thing. If I get into FanFest, I'll show up.
You good? My man. All right, no doubt. No
problem. That was like I told my son. I was like, okay, we both put in this because he wants to go. He's 20-something years old. He wants to get out and
nice.
He's like, can we go to LA? I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to go out there for just the E3.
No, I agree.
Awesome.
You want that? No, I completely understand that.
Right.
But it's like if you get FanFest, definitely you gotta go. You got to.
Yeah, I'll make it out there then. Yeah, it's never been like an issue. Like with the 40, it's just been an issue with like I'm getting old and fat.
I feel you, brother.
You're over here talking about comfortable shoes. I'm over here like, yeah, I gotta get my, what the heck are those Walmart brand, Dr. Scholl's.
Dr. Scholl's.
Yeah, I'm gonna need like 3 pads of each shoe. Yeah,
I feel you. Yeah, because it's like if you're gonna do it, I understand your perspective. If you're gonna do it, you want to get the maximum out of it. And I will say this: the best part of FanFest, in my opinion, don't get me wrong, being behind the scenes with the execs, and Ainsley knows better than me. He went last year, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but the cool thing to me is that press conference, bro. Yeah. Being in that theater when Phil and these guys come on stage, you're seeing these things for the first time. To me, that's the greatest experience, bro. Nothing beats that. It's so cool, you know what I mean? And then you get, like I said, you get all the bells and whistles after that and hanging out and stuff and playing a lot of these games and stuff beforehand. So it's really cool.
I agree. Yeah. In fact, 2018, I was invited to the Xbox press conference. And I went to E3 with Bert, and that was before I met all you guys, right? And Bert didn't get invited. So I went to the Xbox press conference by myself in 2018, and I was in a line that got in at the very tail end. So I was literally all the way at the back, and I was sitting among all these people who just sat there quiet. They made no noise.
Yep.
It's like, I got 50 friends that would love to be here right now getting rowdy with me.
Right.
And you're
rowdy.
sitting here like a fucking lump on a log. What is wrong with you? So there was one other dude who was like screaming and yelling, and me and him were like holding the fort down at the back of the theater.
That's what's up.
No, you're right though. Like last year, especially with so if you're FanFest, you get priority entrance to the conference, right? So you're in the front like 12 rows. And I was sitting with, King and Colt and Tim and all these guys.
Colt?
And we were all just, we were right there, right in front of Keanu when he came out, and it was incredible.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's
awesome.
incredible.
I was like 20, 30 feet from
people.
Keanu.
Mm-hmm.
So
did he smell good?
I'm sure he did. But no, you're right. I love being at the press conferences because we went to where we were at last year too. Ubisoft's as well. No, not Ubisoft.
Yes. Oh, is there too?
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a blast, man. It's just about being in
blast,
the moment.
Man. Yes, completely agree. Nothing beats the press conferences.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about, we mentioned it earlier, but let's talk about xCloud. This is not the best transition, but we're going to do it anyway.
I like it.
So xCloud this week, it's been out for a while. You've used it quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It finally started to roll out to iOS users this week. So initial 10,000 invites. It's not sadly, but it's only one game right now, Master Chief Collection. But it is rolling out. I'm in. I have tried it. It's same thing as it was on Android, right? It's just nice being able to play it on my phone because I am an Apple guy. Well, no, let me take that back. Not an Apple guy. I get my phone for free. It happens to be Apple.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Fair enough.
But this is great. I think that I just wanted to bring this up because you can tell they're just continuing to work on this, right? And they've got another 8 months or so. They're going to continue to spread this out, continue to test it and roll it out because I know they want to include this in their messaging for the launch later this year.
Right.
And you can kind of see that formulating. So, have you, Cog, you been playing on xCloud at all?
Non-stop. I mean, literally.
Really? Okay.
For my job, yeah, dude. At my job, I mean, I during downtime, I got to be honest, during those downtime, I work in IT. There's a lot of projects and stuff. A lot of times I do have downtime. So, I got that bad boy right there. I'll do either remote console in or I'll use that, use the xCloud, the streaming service itself. And I'm an Android guy, so I've been rocking and rolling for a while. But, a lot of my friends would say, man, I'm Apple. Like, when is it coming? Kind of thing. And, from what I was heard, obviously Apple's certification process is much more stringent, and it's a couple more hurdles they have to go through. But to see it out now in a while, I know it's only Master Chief Collection, but just to have people see the main thing at this point is people need to know the functionality, how it feels, how it works. And from all reports, from what you're saying, I mean, shout out to, I'm speaking to Brad Sams, from what he's saying, he put out a great video, it's really, really good, man. And it's good to see because people, I think the overall feeling with streaming has always been kind of negative in the past, like, oh, it can't work. There's no way it can work. And people are doing this right now over 4G LTE. You know what I'm saying? Right now over wireless. And mind you, 5G isn't even here yet. And all that other stuff's not even widespread just yet. So just to see it effectively working the way it is right now, and these are Xbox One S server blades in the cloud stack.
Yes.
Like, this is pretty impressive. We're not even talking about Scorpio stuff, servers in the rack and stuff like that. So this is cool, man. I'm so glad that the iOS stuff has launched now. People are getting their feet wet. People are getting in, and they're just steady going. Bill Stillwell and the crew, man, they just pumping this thing out, man. I'm very proud of him, man, and what he's done. I mean, and the team, Kareem Chowdhury and those guys. Like, it's just people. I know a lot of people poo-poo it, but there's going to be. I think Dan, you made a point. There's going to be people who, at the end of the day, in certain markets, who are never going to buy an Xbox console. They're just not. You know what I'm saying? It's just whatever the region is or, whatever it is. And to see them be aggressive with this, as well as you see them setting up the SK Telecom deal in South Korea, right? You're hearing now that the Korean market, they're using xCloud more than the US market. Yeah. That to me is huge. You know what I'm saying? So again, I understand the strategy. They're going to have to be strategic with pricing and how they include it, because obviously, you know, mobile tends not to want to pay, you know, for a lot of stuff. But if they can get this technology out there, have people realize, you know, this stuff works, and once it works, you get a base of people that would never buy a console interested into your active users, your ecosystem, your subscription, like what we talked about. So that's Microsoft's goal. You know, they're on that trying to go for the billions thing, and you know, like I said, if the tech works, that's the key. If people say, "Wow, this is, you know, so close, almost, you know, exact to my console experience, and I'm playing these big AAA games on the go," you're going to excite a lot of people about that.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. I mean, basically what he said. You know, and the iOS users here in America, you know, you've just increased the number. Base. I mean, I know it's only a 10,000 person right off the bat, but I mean, this is going to be huge. You know, and a lot of people are going to get their hands on it once they start, you know, letting people in. And they've done a really good job of putting new games on there in a timely manner. You know, and getting your streaming directly from your console. It's such a great option to have, you know, and it kind of eliminates that, you know, well, I don't have to go buy a Switch necessarily, you know, for, you know, my mobile gaming anymore. I can just bring my phone. I gotta
be honest. My Switch usage has gone down considerably since xCloud. I cannot. It's something to be said of just continuing my progress with my profile, right? On the go. It's just something to be said. And then the LTE. See, that's the thing. You know, I speak to a lot of my Sony guys, and I've been a champion of remote play for the longest. Since I had the Vita, I've been a champion of that thing for the longest. But the thing I was trying to explain
long live
to
the
guys
Vita.
is that long live. Oh yeah, that's my console. Oh man, I love the Vita. And it's like what I was trying to explain to guys is that there is something to be said, because people don't realize it's still with the remote play. It's locked in to Wi-Fi. Right?
Yeah.
Having cellular connectivity is key. Like, I'm in the doctor's office and people are looking at me like, "Oh my God, you're playing, you know, Halo Gears 5? What's going on? What are you playing?" Like, and they're seeing me on 4G, not even 5G, 4G LTE, almost seamless, and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "This is xCloud." You see what I'm saying? So again, that flexibility, not being tethered to a Wi-Fi spot, is a huge advantage. Huge.
Yep. And you touched on something that I forgot to touch on when we were going all the way back to the cost of manufacturing, COG, and that is, you mentioned the Xbox One S and X hardware being in the server blades for xCloud currently. You know, that transition to Series X hardware is going to occur. They've already talked about that, right? And one of the things we didn't touch on when you talk about pricing and kind of that global structure and of being able to afford to take a hit and cost to manufacture, one of the other aces up Microsoft's sleeve is, because the partnership with AMD, of course, is to produce not only Series X and the Lockhart hardware, but also all of the hardware for xCloud, because it's identical. That gives them, it's economies of scale, right? They're able to probably manufacture at a little lower cost, even if it's a higher product, because of the just economies of scale of putting that worldwide. So, pretty interesting.
Absolutely.
I forgot to mention that. When you mentioned the server blades, it just kind of went off in my head. But yeah, we talked a couple weeks ago. I think the light bulb went off for you when we were talking about, South Asia, they're playing the hell out of xCloud. And the play for those markets, they don't sit at home on console. They're mobile gamers, period.
Mobile gamers through and through. And then I'm forgetting the biggest thing just now. We just put an article up on Lost Gaming.net as far as the Samsung and Microsoft deal.
Oh, yeah. We forgot about that, too.
That's a huge deal. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I'm a Galaxy guy. I'm going to be getting that. And you see, like I said, them setting up partnerships with the ISP, with the SK Telecom there, with T-Mobile here, right? And I think, did T-Mobile and Sprint just recently do some partnership together? That's another thing. But anyway.
They just got the merger approved, I think.
Yeah, so, which will expand
I'm on
that
T-Mobile
coverage.
too with the Note 9. I got the S20 pre-order.
Yeah, so I got my 20. Yeah, me too. Which at the 20, it's 5G, right? Mm-hmm. You got this 5G capable. So you got that going on. You got that partnership with them. So, basically setting up these deals, from my understanding, to incentivize people to use xCloud. That's the vibe I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? What I'm hearing internally. So again, this is a good strategy by Microsoft, again, to try to make these type of partnerships to really get xCloud more in the mind share and to permeate these markets. It's a really cool. I like the approach that I'm seeing from them in reference to it.
Yeah, because I forget who I was talking to on Twitter about this, but what you can do, right, is just like you have your contracts for your phones, right? You sign up, you get your new S20. I don't know shit about phones, so if I say something wrong, tell me. I get mine for free.
You still got the flip phone? Don't lie, Ace. What type of phone you rocking? Come on.
I got the Nokia,
you got the beep with the flip?
It's a solid Nokia.
Dan, we gotta hook your boy up, Dan. Come on, Dan.
But what they can do, right, is like when you go to get your new phone, again, you don't need a console. You can just say, as part of your plan, we're going to give you 6 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which now includes xCloud functionality, right?
Boom.
And here, you can now play 200 AAA games on your phone with an Xbox account.
Boom.
Right. And that's going to be another key that nobody ever talks about is with the price. What is it going to be included in Ultimate? Will they?
I think it has to be.
Or will they raise that price $5 extra a month for that?
Yeah.
Go to $20. I have no idea. Right. But to me, I mean, I don't know. Like if it's an extra $5 a month, fine. I mean, I have so many subscription services. I decided to cut the cord. And now I'm paying more money for everything. It's so ridiculous. They know what they're doing. These guys know what they're doing. Netflix, Disney Plus. They're just like, oh yeah, cut the cord. It's fine. You'll save so much money. And then you realize that you have Hulu and
Yep.
CBS.
You've only stuff that you forget to unsubscribe to.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I'm on 15 different streaming services now.
If only there was one thing that could bring them all together. Like a cable network.
I know.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
I know.
Crazy. I'm interested to see what they're going to charge for it. Right now, it's fantastic because it's free.
Sure.
But I mean, you're right. I mean, the tech is, I think, pretty much there. There's a few hiccups here and there, but we're not even on that high end yet.
No.
we aren't even
Exactly.
aren't in. 5G isn't there, like you said. It's just going to get better.
Yeah.
And you're reaching markets that typically, like you guys said, just haven't. Aren't going to buy that X or aren't going to buy an Xbox. So. That's what they want. That's the end game for them, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Crazy
when you think about it.
Crazy. Yeah.
Woo.
Exciting times, fellas. Exciting times.
So let's move over to just a company note I wanted to touch on because it's relevant to cross-platform users like us and our listeners. Is Quantic Dream, so makers of Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, those narrative-heavy, kind of very unique games. They've been around now for 23 years, which I was surprised to read. I didn't realize they had been around that long.
Wow.
But on their 23rd anniversary, they posted a blog post, this was a couple days ago now, basically saying that they are now in a position where they're going to be able to self-publish. So if you remember, Quantic Dream they're not a huge AAA studio, and so they worked primarily with Sony on the PlayStation side for Sony to publish their titles, and that's why titles like Detroit, Heavy Rain, etc. were PS3, PS4 exclusives. But if you recall, they're one of the ones that just announced they're going to go to PC as well. And in their blog post here, they said because they're self-publishing and with new platforms on the horizon, they're going to be, re-examining where they place their games. So I think in a roundabout way, they're basically saying we're going to self-publish. We're already experimenting with PC. You can expect to see our games in new places. Which is a good thing. Nothing big to really talk about, but it would be cool to see games like Detroit Become Human, etc., because they are unique. See them on Xbox, see them on Switch, etc.
Love that game.
Yeah. I don't think we have much to say on that one.
No.
Everyone's like, yeah, it's good news.
Bring it on.
Exciting. That's exciting. Bring it on, man. Bring it on. More platforms.
So I wanted to, I thought this was good timing, Cog, because, you are, as I understand it, a very big Destiny 2 player. You and Abontis, have the Last Word podcast. So if you are a fan of Destiny 2 and looter shooters in general, and you haven't checked out the Last Word podcast, make sure to do that. But this
Thank
week,
you so much, brother.
we got the gameplay preview for a title called Outriders, and this is from the studio People Can Fly. People Can Fly, if you're not aware, they used to help with the Gears franchise. They also made Bulletstorm, and it's a collaboration between them and Square Enix, of all companies, making a new, essentially what equates to a looter shooter. It's a 3-player co-op, online, RPG, shooter, third person, looks like a cross between all of them. It looks like a cross between Gears, Anthem, Destiny, all mixed together.
Yes.
And so it's launching this fall. It's going to be cross-generational, so PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X. And, it looked pretty good. You can definitely see it. It still needs some polish, still needs some et cetera. But, looking through the stream they did the other day and looking through the gameplay premiere, I thought it looked pretty solid. But these games, as we all know, from the launch of Destiny 1, the launch of Anthem, which we'll get to, other titles, they're notoriously difficult to launch well in a good state.
Yes.
So, with Cog on the line, who knows probably more about these looter shooters than we do, I wanted to get your perspective on what you saw this week out of this game. Are you excited for it? Does it look good to you? Does it look crap to you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this topic up. I was like, literally had this discussion. I was speaking to Ebontis. We had this discussion. And shout out to Paul Tassi from Forbes. We had him on Last Word this week. And we literally talked about Outriders because we were talking about, we talk Destiny the most, but we wanted to also talk about, other looter shooters in the space that look cool, in competition. So, yeah, this caught my eye. I definitely took a look at it. Shout out to my boy Duggan from IGN. He got a good 17 minutes with it, and I really, really actually preferred watching his playstyle because I didn't know about a lot of the ability aspects. Because at first I just thought it was kind of like Gears of War Division cover to cover kind of a game, and it's actually a little bit more than that. It actually there's a lot of time freezing powers and manipulation and stuff like that. And I forgot what class he was using, but he was like running around the map like a maniac, not really having to use cover. And that actually like excited me because I thought I would be kind of locked into that kind of traditional, I don't want to say plotting, but a more of a tactical play style. And it's not like that. It's completely different.
I think, sorry to interrupt, Cog, I think he was using, they call it the Trickster.
Yes. There's
the Pyromancer, the Trickster, and the Devastator they've shown so far.
Yes, the Trickster play style is what sold me. And I'm so glad he utilized that. And, because again, at first, like I said, I got to be honest. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't know. It's kind of generic looking. It's kind of had the 3 classes like Destiny. I'm like, I don't know. Let me see. But until I saw the Trickster, and then first of all, I love the boss battles. The boss battles seem very cool. It seems like a lot of mechanics and different styles you got to use. The game is very visceral. That's off the top that I did like. And, they definitely look like there's some potential there, man. I'm willing to give it a shot. It feels more like kind of like Gears, Destiny, and Borderlands had a baby, so to speak, for me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm definitely going to give it a shot, and I definitely think it has some potential, especially the boss fights. The boss fights showed me a lot. There's a guy you're fighting. He's like shooting lightning from a distance, and then, the guy you're teleporting around as the trickster and utilizing the environment and stuff like that. So it seemed pretty cool. And story beat-wise, it's definitely very narrative heavy. So I did like that aspect. There was one part where, like, you speak to an NPC, you have some choice, decision making to make, and then you do a quest for them and beat like a boss, and then like the next scene when you see the NPC, like you bring the guy's head to the NPC and like, this your problem, take care. I'm like, okay, this is what we doing. Okay, we just killing them out here, decapitating them and showing stuff. But it has potential. It definitely. I'll keep my eye on this one. Outriders will keep my eye on it.
Yeah. You know what else had potential? Anthem.
We're going to get to that. Slow down.
Okay. What I'm saying here is, here's what I'm saying. I like what I see.
Okay.
It looks like it's going to be something I would get into. I like the narrative-based stuff, the loot-based stuff. But, you got to have that hook now, and you've got to get people in early. And you got people, really involved in it. That's part of the reason I'm thinking, like I'm a little worried about like Bleeding Edge, kind of going the way of, Law Bringers. Maybe not to that extent, because it's free and a lot of people didn't play it. But
shout out to Cliffy B. Shout out to Cliffy.
But you never know. It's something that it looks interesting.
Right.
I want to see more of it. I'm kind of the same way as Cog is. It's you got to be a little bit anymore with these kind of games. You really have to kind of watch it, because you see something like Anthem come out, then a month or two later, Division 2 comes out and goes, "Hey, this is how it's done, dumbass." All right, and then, and that's what you get, and so I'm always a little bit weary, but if they can knock it out of the park and hit, get some good narrative stuff, and I'm all about it, man. We'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm the same way as you guys. I love these types of games, but I'm very hesitant just because we've been burned in the past. Now, People Can Fly, they do some really strong shooter mechanics. Feels good in their games. So we'll see what that looks like. What I would worry is that I hope that if they get to June, July, and the game development team feels this isn't going to be what we want it to be in the fall, right? I hope they have the balls to delay it rather than try and capitalize on being a launch title.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah, because you see that, right? You see that at times. It's like, we want to get out at launch because people are going to be looking for a new game to play. Yeah. So they put it out, but then the game's mediocre. Yeah. And that'll hurt the long-term prospects of the game more than if you just delay it and release a better game, say, in the spring, in my opinion.
Valid point. I agree.
But, all right, so we've got, I wanted to run through some game updates. There were a lot of updates for existing games this week that kind of came out. And speaking of, we're talking about looter shooters, we might as well jump over to this one. It's Division 2. So this was a great surprise this week because I'm a big Division guy. As much as I know you like Destiny, Cog, I'm more on the Division side. Played the hell out of Division
I've come along to your side, though. I've come along to your
side.
You're
okay. All right.
Oh, bro, I'm a champion of Division 2. Oh, yeah. I'm coming right over, man. I'm a champion of Division 2. I want them to succeed, but continue.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game, just in many, many ways. And what a lot of the hardcore guys have wanted, one, is they kind of miss New York City because the New York City setting was just awesome. DC was very cool. There was something unexplainable almost about New York City. And they also want to continue the story with Aaron Keener. So Aaron Keener's the guy who basically kicked off this whole thing, going back to Division 1. And so it looks like Massive really kind of doing some fan service here and saying, Season 2's coming, we're going back to New York, and it's going to be a massive expansion with a new narrative that continues the story where you hunt down Aaron Keener, and we're going to finish what was started all the way back in Division 1. And it's coming in 3 weeks.
You can actually play the Coney Island part now, which sets up the Warlords.
Oh, man, I got to read it. I uninstalled Division 2. Everyone forgive me, but it's going back in today.
It's going back on, baby. Put it back on. Let's go.
Got to get in there.
Tonight,
Let's go.
There with you. It's awesome.
Yo, I'll get down with you guys, for real, because I re-downloaded it myself, and I'm just like, I'm ready. Let's do it.
It's fun, man. It's just, especially when you have like a good squad, as all these games are, right? When you have a good squad rolling, man, it's so much fun. But this looks amazing, man. I can't wait to see more of this. So
I like updating it too, man.
Yeah, they don't stop.
There's so much. Like I got in there and I was like, oh, there's like 3 more specialist roles that I had no idea existed. And I had played for hours, and I was just like, wait a minute, what's this? You can have flamethrower? What? Yeah, okay.
What's cool is those. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan. Continue.
No, go ahead, Cog. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that what excited me about the expansion that they talked about was obviously the Warlords, and then each one now when you defeat one, there's a brand new specialization that's not in the game that you get from each particular one. So that really excited me.
I didn't hear that.
Yes, there are completely new skills, man, that you can get, and you can only get them by defeating those Warlords. And what I like what they did is this week.
There's 4.
Okay.
I think it's 4. Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah.
And what I like that they did is like, the game is like, dude, it's like $3 everywhere. Like, console, Steam. So it's like, get everybody back. The free update, like you said, Dan, with the whole Coney Island precursor thing. And I believe then the actual DLC is like March 3rd or whatever it is.
It's the first week
like
of March,
$20 or $30. Yeah.
$30.
So I think it's a cool way to get people right back into the the ecosystem, man.
No doubt.
Oh yeah,
No doubt.
that's how it's done.
Yeah, seriously, that's how you support a game. BioWare.
Yes.
I know you're watching.
Yeah, obviously they're watching. Based on the news that we heard this week.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to that. I'm saving that for last.
For last.
I'm saving that. We're gonna give that shout out. All right, so let's talk about. I don't know if you play these types of games, Colin, but we're gonna talk about Battle Royale. So, the season 2 for Modern Warfare is now out, and they teased, and basically it got leaked all of like 24 seconds later. Battle Royale mode that's coming to Modern Warfare. Now, from the leak we've seen, we believe it's coming February 26th. That was a date that was leaked out there. And more importantly, or at least I think more importantly, the rumor that we published a good 2 months ago maybe, that it's going to be a 200-player Battle Royale. And that seems to now be confirmed because there was a screenshot that leaked of a menu in the game that says join 200 players.
Yeah.
So I'm a big Battle Royale guy. I play pub regularly.
You're a king.
I just love the tension of it. I'm a very competitive guy. Love the tension of it. When you get to top 10 in a Battle Royale game, dude, there's
few
your
things
nerves are
that
going.
beat that feeling.
And so the thought of Modern Warfare is already a really good shooter. It really got Call of Duty back to a good place. The thought of adding a 200-player Battle Royale, and the map's been leaked too, by the way. You can find that on our site. Man, God, I'm really, really pumped for this.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, this is not Dan's area. We're gonna skip
talk.
over Dan.
Is it
I'm
Dan?
speaking to you.
Is it you, Dan?
Yeah, no, I'm speaking to you only on this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Listen, man. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I'm not the biggest Call of Duty guy. I kind of fell off for like the last couple of years. But I will say this. When the whole Battle Royale, phenomenon started, I fell along the line. I'm more on the PUBG side.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
too.
really the Fortnite guy. You know what I'm saying? I like more of the realism aspect, and I'll never forget because I want to know, like, what is the hook? Why are people going so crazy for this game? And it's not until I played it, and I'm like, there's no feeling better than that last 3 to 5 people. And it's that tension and any mistake you felt that a level of accomplishment. So I'm not gonna lie, you may have me interested, man, because Call of Duty from a shooting mechanic standpoint, far superior. And then let's be real, the engine is so much nicer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that was my
it is.
only issue with PUBG. It's a little rough around the edges.
even after all the polish, it's a much better game than it used to be. But it's still not up to the feel of Call of Duty in that sense. But the nice thing here is everything we've seen in terms of the leak here shows that they're doing it right, and this is going to be a standalone, free-to-play Modern Warfare.
I'm in.
It's tied to Modern Warfare, and it's got the character like Ghost and everything. But free to play,
I'm in.
And they're going to have a battle pass just like Apex, basically. But, I mean, if Call of Duty comes in free to play with a serious battle royale, Apex is going to take a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I figure with 200 people, if I just run around and spray and pray, I'll probably get a couple kills.
Hey, I know. Yeah. I'm confident you can get top 150.
I'm pretty confident I'm 75. But,
yeah, he set the ball real low for you.
That's pretty high. 160 and you sold me.
He doesn't give himself enough credit. He talks shit on himself all the time, and then he'll play with us, and he's pretty good. Don't let him fool you.
He holds it down.
I hold my own in Division 2 for sure.
You do play well in Division 2.
That's
what's up.
Call of Duty, man. I suck so bad.
Listen, man.
So bad.
So
stay with the squad.
Blackout was good. Yeah. It wasn't great.
I didn't make it to like top 5, didn't I? On that the gaming one where we did the
where we played. Yeah, we were something like that.
Yeah, it was mostly hiding.
Hey, it's
that
a
is a skill.
Strategy in battle royale games.
That is a skill. Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Yo, Ames, you said the magic word.
I'm excited
$3.99,
for this,
man.
I can't
like
wait till
free.
some official announcement is made.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got? We got State of Decay 2, a game you better to speak to because Dan has played that a ton. So they came out yesterday. In fact, funny story, I was kind of given some information on this, so I published it around 9 a.m. yesterday morning, Central Time.
Okay.
And the official State of Decay Xbox Twitter account reached out to me and said, hey, can you take that down? Because we're not supposed to talk about this yet. So took it down for an hour, put it back up at or 2 hours, put it back up at 11 a.m., which was 9 a.m. Pacific when they officially announced the Juggernaut Edition, which is this sounds like a huge update.
Yeah.
So it's an entirely new map, which is impressive. New weapons, a new tutorial, new missions, and it's also going to Steam, which is obviously going to boost up that player count with full cross-network play as well.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Nice.
I know you don't want that, but
No, actually, it doesn't matter because it's really not multiplayer game necessarily. It's a co-op.
it's a co-op game. You're not,
Yeah, it's
so,
co-op.
But I mean, this looks. It's cool to see Undead Labs continuing to polish this game because it's a really good game. It's a little rough around the edges, as most of us know. But it's a great game, and good to see it's going to get to more people.
Yeah, I want to see what the graphical improvements are. That's what really kind of I'm looking forward to the most. A new map is awesome. Tutorials, super helpful because they're garbage in the current state. But I love this game, man. I played through it several times with several different communities. I had a great time with it. So I haven't played a whole lot of the DLC stuff, but it's all coming to Game Pass with all the DLC.
And this is all free. Yeah,
all free.
It's all free, all DLC.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You're getting all this stuff, man. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely jump back into it, see what it's like, and see what they've done to improve it. The base game itself was always kind of average, but they kept adding a little bit here and there. They kept improving it here and there, and now it just seems like they've hit that pinnacle where the next step maybe is State of Decay 3 or whatever their next game is. So I think this might be the end of the line as far as
this is probably the end.
Yeah. This is what we're going to do to here. We'll make small improvements, for quality of life stuff, whatever. But I think this is kind of the ultimate edition or the Juggernaut edition. Whatever you want to call it.
There you go. Yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of those guys, man. Shout out to Undead Labs. Got a chance to meet them. This is cool. I didn't even realize about this, so I'm glad you brought this to my attention. I definitely want to see all the new features and stuff that they got going on. Love that you said there's that cross platform support with Steam. I'm excited. I've always loved State of Decay. That's like, to me, my Walking Dead simulator. I love that stuff, building your base, and then me and Attic would play that game for hours, and then just the cooperative aspect now, man. So huge fan of that, and good to see those guys, and I'm excited for Undead in the future as well, because they're moving on to see what's going to happen. I think they're expanding, and
they are
getting another studio in New Orleans, and I can't wait to see the evolution of where they go, and if they even decide to do an IP either too. So shout out to those guys, man. I'm a huge fan of those guys.
Yeah, it's a good call out. I completely forgot about their new studio in New Orleans.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, so that's good. I mean, all those Xbox game studios are expanding. It's going to be really cool. I know they had plans. The rumor was they had plans for a State of Decay world, like a kind of a game that.
Like an MMO?
Almost like a
an
much
MMO.
Broader world. So, which would really then be a Walking Dead simulator, almost like a new DayZ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be cool. So, we'll see.
That'd be cool.
Come on, Undead Labs, just flop it out and see what you got.
That's with the tower. That's with the Tower of Power, baby. That's coming right around.
All right, I had to save the one because I think you and I can take personal credit for this one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not? We're going to.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, I did DM Casey, so you need to come out and say something, dude.
So 2 weeks ago.
I see that flex.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we came out, and again, I warned people who may listen with children, and I just said, where the fuck is Anthem?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Facts.
What the hell is going on? They've been silent for months. Nothing's been happening. The Christmas tree lights are still up. What the hell's going on? Sure enough, here a week later, Casey Hudson, after we talked on the phone, I had to set him straight.
Yeah.
Salute.
He flew out. Yeah.
He flew.
Listen, we need to talk to you.
Look. We were like, look, you got something here, and you're letting it flounder.
Yeah.
We will not accept this.
Nope.
And so he put out a blog post, got the team together, and finally they've confirmed that they are doing a long-term, complete redux of Anthem. Essentially what they've been, talking about, a 2.0 overhaul. Yes. what all of us wanted to hear. And they even specifically called out leaving things like the core gameplay, tactics, and loop alone, but focusing on endgame, mission structure, and looting, which is exactly what the game needs.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
anyone listening, you can thank us. We did it for you. You know,
Woo!
we did it.
Season gaming.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's right.
We only bitched about Anthem about every Bitcast for 8 months, but you know
Love
we
it.
got there
Love
eventually.
There is a Patreon that we're going to open up to cover our flight costs to Vancouver or wherever we flew. I don't even know where they're at.
They're in Edmonton, but that's all right.
something.
I'll go to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And we'll go out to Edmonton.
But no,
Yeah.
seriously though, this is good news. Anthem, we've talked about it at length here, but it's great to have Cog on again to get his perspective. So, Cog, we have bitched about Anthem a lot. Dan and I put quite a few hours into it. Fantastic gameplay, great ideas, poorly executed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because there is a core there that's really good.
Yeah.
So, you being a fan of this genre, did you put time into Anthem? What'd you think of it?
Oh yeah.
Where you at?
Oh yeah. Oh. Dude, I'll be the first. Like, I'll be honest, as a Destiny fan, I remember booting up Anthem, and I was like, "Yo, what is this? This is something." Like, I remember just taking off from that ledge of Fort Tarsus
Yeah.
and flying, and I'm like, "This is different." It's just something to be said, man. And I messed around with that. I messed around with the Storm class, and I'm just like, the potential is here. The core is here. We all know the story. We're not going to get into it ad nauseum, what happened. But I just root for that game because there's no game that matches that experience, right? So now it just comes down to getting the gameplay loop, right? Getting the end game correct so that you keep people engaged and getting that stuff going. And I'm so happy because I'm a BioWare fanboy. And I grew up with those guys. And I know the team itself is different. It's not exactly the same team, but Casey's there. And, we know the stories about, the development, stuff like that. So to see them not give up on it really makes me feel good because there is potential here. And I think what they have to do, and just in my opinion, is, again, restructure. I had this discussion on Last Word with Tassie and these guys. I feel like they need to do what Division did, which is make the core gameplay changes and balancing, right? Give that as a free update, right? Trying to get the goodwill back of the people, right? You need to get the goodwill because obviously the name is it's stained right now. I don't think they could do these changes and say, hey, for $60, because people are gonna be like, hold on, you know what I'm saying? Like, people might be upset. So, in my opinion, I think you do all the background gameplay changes, all the stuff with your core gameplay loop to show everybody how much it's changed. You give that to them in a free kind of a change of life update, right? Then maybe like a month or two, you say, okay, kind of like what Division is doing with Warlords of New York. Here's a $20 expansion. Here's this end game content, whatever. And by that point, you've got people already in the base, and you kind of galvanize and get people excited for this new thing that's to come that's going to showcase even further the potential. But I don't want this game to die. I love Anthem. I love the idea of Anthem. And I would love to see them end strong with the generation. And then with next generation, because that's another thing, like, I've also felt Anthem was very ambitious graphically on console. Like, I played it on PC, and it's another experience. Like, Anthem on PC is, oh my God, like, this is the greatest thing ever, right? So now with the next-gen consoles and the CPUs and the Xbox Series X, like, you really got to get to see the potential, and that's what I'm super excited. So shout out to Season Gaming, putting the word out, bugging everybody to not give up on these games, getting Casey on the bat phone, doing whatever you have to do. Because, bruh, we need Anthem to be good. I'm a looter shooter fan. When Anthem's good, that makes Destiny's better. You see what I'm saying? Like, when these guys are competing, no one can be lax. So this is good stuff, man. Salute you guys. I love to hear this stuff.
Yeah,
man. Sometimes you just gotta show a little tough love, And you kids, right? Your kids screw up, you kind of, you smack them on the back of the head. Stop being a dum dum. Do better, and then usually you're fine. You're good to go.
No doubt.
That's all you need.
Season Gaming does not endorse smoking or child abuse.
Hayes put out the disclaimer quick.
Oh my god.
We here at Season.
You see me on the teleprompter.
Listen.
Season Gaming.
We talked about dads earlier.
Oh,
This sternum right here, this little sternum punch, where he takes the 2 fingers and goes, "What did I tell you?"
Oh yeah.
We know what that is.
Uh-huh.
Keep it around. I guarantee you, all you gotta do is you don't have to do like multiple pokes. You gotta do. Listen.
Yeah.
What did I tell you?
I was gonna say don't
That's it.
fully punch Casey
No,
in the sternum
don't,
because he's not a big guy.
You want to punch anybody. I mean, I'm not saying punch people.
He said that
I'm saying
good
you gotta
strong
be, you gotta be
sternum.
strict. There's a lot of power in these 2 fingers.
Just be direct.
Be direct. Yeah.
Yo,
don't be
Dad
dumb.
is out of control. I love it.
All right, so
man.
why don't we talk about what we currently playing? So there's it's kind of been we've been talking for a few weeks, Cog, about there's been this slight lull right at the beginning of the year before March kicks off and we start to get into the big releases like Doom and Ori and all the other ones coming down the line. What have you been up to? What's been spinning around on your console?
Yeah, man. I mean, actually, been hitting my backlog, so trying to get now. I got Gears done, but now I'm working on Outer Worlds. I'm trying to get that completely done. I got my little Pavardi quest done as far as her loyalty stuff. That's my homegirl.
Yeah,
And
she's awesome, man.
actually, I like Vicar Max. He makes me laugh for some reason.
Yeah, he does.
Vicar Max, the little shiesty priest.
Yeah, those were my 2 favorite characters in that game.
Too.
Yeah.
Those two, just listening to the banter back and forth and how biometrically opposed they are to things, the way they would handle things. So I've been rocking with that. Obviously,
Nice.
Destiny, getting ready because I'm a big Trials of Osiris guy. So this season is really prepping for Trials to come, which is competitive 3v3 elimination, which is my favorite mode. I'm a huge Trials. So finally, my favorite mode will return to Destiny 2 next season. So I'm happy for that. Division
Nice.
2, booting that back up. I'm definitely, because my console, my Xbox guys are fighting me where to play it, but now that I found out that you are also there, and the fact that I have like a level, almost a close to a level 30 character on Xbox, so I think I'm leaning Xbox with Division 2. And people, shout out to all my PC guys, because I tell people all the time, don't get me wrong, 60 frames is great, but in Division 2, the 4K, the HDR, and the fact that it's more of a tactical shooter,
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. So I feel like on Xbox, on the Xbox One X, I don't really feel the 30 frames per second hit because you're behind cover most of the time anyway. It's not like it's this fast pace all the time type of a game. So I actually love playing Division 2 on the X, and I think that's where I'm leaning. So me and you guys got to link up, man. We definitely got to rock out on
There
this
you
new
go.
content.
That makes a 4th then because we got another buddy that he's an end game player too.
Let's do it.
That I play with.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean you can get the 4 of us. That'll be a hell of a squad.
Oh, nice. I got my little sniper turret skill, and then the one that you freeze them in front. Those are my two skills I like to rock out.
Oh, the cryo one's
I'm
great.
excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, cool, man.
So that's pretty
How
much
you
what
liking
I'm
Outer Worlds?
I love it. To me, it's it's the Fallout style game that I wanted. Like it's. I just love those games where I grew up with the narrative, like when you invest a lot in the narrative skill, and it has a lot of impact on the game, and they're just story driven. And anything where major choices affect gameplay and tough decisions, I like that. I like the combat, which you slow down. You can attack critical areas of the person and stuff like that with different status effects. I love that. And companions, man, ordering your companions to do stuff, and it's a blast, man. Again, we were talking about Game Pass earlier. The fact that's in Game Pass, I literally feel like I got that for free. And it's such an amazing experience. So shout out to Obsidian. They're my personal favorite Xbox Game Studio acquisition. I love those guys. I love the history of those guys. I can't wait to see, Outer Worlds 2 in the future and all the new other games that they've got coming out, for on the Xbox Game Studio side.
Yeah, and Outer Worlds, which is crazy to think, that was my game of 2019. I adored Outer Worlds.
Me too.
Because it felt like the BioWare game we hadn't had in a long time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But that was their small game. Their AAA game has still been in production. They haven't shown it yet.
That's insane.
So
How
I'm
crazy
excited.
is that? Yeah.
Yeah, they are a great studio though. So what well I know you've been all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah, what have you been
I
up
went
to?
from having nothing to play to let's see, Metro DLC.
Okay.
Division. New stuff came out. Obviously, I gotta still stick with Red Dead Online every once in a while just to do stuff.
At this point, it's a habit.
Yeah, at this point, I've actually gotten to it's become so bad of a habit that I'm now playing on the PS4 and the Xbox.
Yeah, we don't talk.
I just kind of go back and forth.
Right. You need one of those 2-fingered sternum smacks for that.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. I see you over here installing Torchlight 2 on the Switch. I'm like, I just got it on Xbox. I might as well buy it on there too. That's no problem. Yakuza 5 released with the remaster edition, so that was my last one to play. I just started that one, so.
And that's the last one before the brand new one, right?
Before 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super. Yeah. I mean, the whole series. I mean, I feel like this is supposed to be the biggest one. You play as 5 different people, which I'm not a huge fan of. Like 4 was like that too. You had to play as 4 different people. I kind of would like to focus more on the one guy, Kiru, but at the same time, it's amazing how they intertwine all the stories, and it's like that. It's like that pulp Japanese, kung fu, but Yakuza, old mafia kind of thing. It's so cool, man. It's so cool, and like they're like you look at him like, man, I wish I was that guy, and it's, for several different reasons, but he's just a good dude, and it's cool to see his story finally kind of come to an end. I mean, I've seen the end of what it is, but I mean, there's just that
culmination.
The culmination, finally getting able to play
the culmination.
So, short of that, it's just been a little bit of disco, Elysium, but I've just been all over the place. All over the place. You know what else?
I heard
Far Cry 3
fantastic things
again.
about disco.
What?
The classic edition that I got with the DLC from Far Cry 5. I never downloaded it.
Wow.
And I started that again. I was like, man, this game's still good. It's still good. Still the best Far Cry. It will never be the worst.
Yeah, so I got my new PC.
Woo!
I love joking with Enrique and the guys.
Oh, Brap is out of control. Yeah, PC Master
Race.
Race.
Oh, my God. No joke. So I started Disco Elysium last week, and I talked about it, and I'm really enjoying it because we were just talking about like good writing and narrative-heavy games where choices matter, and that game is definitely one of those. The writing is hilarious, and it's really bizarre, but it's like an old point-and-click adventure game with good writing, so it takes me way back to my PC days, early PC days of like King's Quest and whatnot.
Talk about it. Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
King's Quest, one of the first PC. I think
Love
it might be
King's
the first
Quest.
PC game I ever played on the Tandy 1000. We're going back now.
Lord.
Tandy, he taking it back. Let's go. I remember that.
Back when Radio Shack mattered.
Yeah.
Radio Shack. What you know about that Tandy and that Radio Shack? I'm gonna start going to Comp USA next.
But I'm sitting there playing the other day, and you're playing, and my monitor just loses signal. It's like, there's no signal. The game's still running, PC's still on, sound's still going, no signal. I'm like, all right, what the hell happened? So you can't save because I can't see what's actually on the screen. So I lost progress, reboot my PC, start again. I'm like, all right, let me do this again. Do it all again, happens again. I'm like, oh my God, you're killing me, PC. Long story short, I had to spend about an hour uninstalling all the graphics drivers, booting in safe mode, reinstalling all the AMD official drivers, and typical PC stuff. But I think I've got it in a good place now. It hasn't crashed since, so
Why don't you just buy a PS4 and a PC then?
You that Twitter dude, that Twitter talk right there.
Because PC gaming, is enjoyable and is awesome. Is also not as convenient.
Yeah,
as
it's an investment both in money and time.
Yes, huge.
That's what it is.
So I mean, and I love PC gaming. I love it's fine. But this game isn't like trying to run Call of Duty at max settings.
No,
this is Disco Elysium. So if you're having issues with drivers and stuff like that, it's just how it is, man. It's frustrating. Yeah. Or I can sit down, press a button, and then I'm playing Red Dead in 20 seconds.
Well, I mean, my PC was all of 5 days old, so.
Even worse.
But even that's actually disconcerting. That's
disconcerting.
That is that new and that you having this kind of a bunch of problems. But I mean, I think Dan nailed it, man. I mean, I think that's sometimes people forget. Yes, you're getting the highest fidelity, you're getting in the best settings, But these are the things, the trials and tribulations that come along with PC gaming, and that's why I always feel console will have a place, because people just like that one-stop shop. Sometimes just press a button and go, and everything is kind of ready to go.
Especially like I sit, at my desk on my PC all day working. Right. When I get home, hand me the controller, let me push a button and start playing. I don't feel like going through drivers.
Exactly, man. I mean, I got mad at the store because there was two old ladies standing in the aisle in front of me, and they wouldn't move. Right? So you're gonna put a however much PC in front of me and then say, okay, here's what the problem is. You'll figure it out. Go look at. No, I ain't got time for this. I'm getting older. I have no patience for this kind of garbage. I can't even deal with when somebody walks slow in front of me. You want me to figure out how to uninstall drivers? No.
Oh yeah, I had to look up videos and articles. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
No thanks. But shout out to all the PC gamers, more power to you.
Shout out to all the PC. After he said all that slander, shout out to all the PC guys.
Shout out, hashtag PC gaming.
Shout out to PC gamers. Guys. I love you guys both, but I don't have the patience to deal with it.
I feel you. If it makes you feel any better, I use controller on PC and I still wreck it in PvP. So people get surprised. I'm like, you're playing it with controller. I'm like, yeah, I'm using my Xbox Elite controller. I'm out here.
That's right. That's how I do it.
KD's still good.
No doubt. The only games I use, I hate PC and keyboard, mouse and keyboard. I'm not good with it. I use it for World of Tanks, which is I talked about last week. I've still been playing. And Disco is a point and click game, so it's easy. So you hand me a shooter, I need that controller. It's just how I am.
I need that controller, brother.
I did want to mention real quick too, though. Last night I was actually playing Bleeding Edge.
Yeah, how's that?
Oh yeah, how's it?
So it's good, surprisingly good. I went through all the tutorial, and I play a lot. No, I don't play a lot. I play other games like that. So shout out to Power Stone. Got to do it while we're talking about Bleeding Edge. But I play a lot of Smite, which is a MOBA. So Bleeding Edge, from what the developer said, was originally going down the path of a MOBA. It actually had towers in it at one point. But they brought it back, and now it's 4-on-4, mostly melee, but combat, competitive combat, where it has two modes. One is where you're capturing zones and counting time.
Right.
An ABC mode. And then it has a new mode that I hadn't played before, which is where you're capturing power cells, and you have to deliver the power cells to these different points. But anyway, played with a buddy of mine last night and a few matches, and had a really good time. No hiccups at all. Super smooth.
Nice.
Combat is deep. There's a lot more to it than you think. It's not button mashing at all. You'll get your ass kicked if you just run in there and try and do that. So it's going to be a competitive game. I just hope, like we mentioned before, it's really flying under the radar right now.
Right.
And I'm hoping that it has a good launch, especially with the Game Pass support, to where it builds a community. Because there's definitely something there that's worth playing and sticking with.
Is it better than Crackdown 3 multiplayer?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
That was my last one for the day.
Get him dead.
So what do you think? Have you tried Bleeding Edge at all?
Just at E3, I haven't got a chance to really play it. I'm not that style of game. Generally, is not my bag. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I know Addict. He's gonna pull me in because he's gonna try it with me. And in fairness, I do need to play it. So I'll probably jump on with him tonight because I know they're rocking and rolling right now. I think Ken, he's rocking right now and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. We actually interviewed Ronnie Tucker, and she said exactly what you said as far as like inspirations, Power Stone, things like that nature, stuff like that. So look, I'm willing to give it a shot. Listen, it's in Game Pass, so hey, I ain't got no excuse.
There you go. That's the great thing about it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, hey, we download it, see what's going on. But yeah, I'll give it a shot just so I can say that I played it and then give my real fair assessment of it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I wanted to dive in last night, and I actually made sure to do it last night so I could kind of mention it today. And I played it at E3 as well. And shout out to Ninja Theory, right? They're such a good group of people.
It's a small team too.
I love Ninja Theory.
On this one, yeah. But when we were in line to play a match at E3, the art director, the guy who drew the characters, and the characters are amazing.
Yeah, they look really cool.
Yes.
He was standing in line, basically, talking to people, and so we talked to him for a while. And a super nice guy, and we were giving him compliments on the character designs, and he was just so appreciative and excited to be there. And they're just They're good people, man. Real good people.
Yes, yes. Very good people. Love that team.
Yeah,
Love that. I'm very excited for them. And obviously, we've seen Hellblade too. So, I'm super pumped about that. And that, what is it, Project Mara? They got a lot of stuff going on, man. They are rocking.
Yep. And they are a top talent studio, man. What they make is...
Yes.
They make some good stuff.
Yeah.
So...
Big time. Big time.
All right, man. Well, it has been a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and close this one down. I'll mention a couple things real quick. If you haven't checked it out, we put up last night. This was real interesting. The voice actor, Benjamin Byron Davis, who did Dutch in Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously one of the two key characters with Arthur, right? His mom happens to be a New York Times best-selling writer and has her own series of books and a blog and all that. She's 75 years old, and she kind of experienced what her son was going through in being Dutch. 5 years of video game development, right? A strict NDA. He couldn't talk about even the game existing, all this stuff. But she wanted to kind of understand what was the big deal about this game. And so she set out, bought a PlayStation, bought Red Dead, never played a game before. Didn't even know how to use the controller.
Fantastic.
And forced herself to do it. Ended up playing through the whole game and coming to the realization that video games are something truly, truly special, and that what the experience was for her was something like eye-opening. And so she wrote an essay about the whole experience from beginning to end, about her son, about picking up the PlayStation, about playing the game and the story and everything. And she published that. And so we shared it on our site. It's really, really cool to read. Probably take you 5 minutes to read it. But it's awesome. So check that out if you haven't. It's something you don't see a lot in the industry.
Yeah, when you sent me that link, I had read it already. It was, you just don't see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the guy walking, the delivery driver walking to the door, and he, talking about a game.
Right at that key moment, too.
Yeah, right
like
at the moment. Yeah, she
game.
was getting all mad, and then, it turns out he has no idea what he's talking about.
Right.
It's just, it was really cool to see that kind of perspective from, a non-gamer. But somebody that's invested in it, obviously, with her son. So it was really cool.
And someone from the perspective who's an author, right?
Yeah.
Like she crafts experiences or knows experiences for people, but seeing
and not to downplay it, but I mean, she picked the right game.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
She had picked up Oxenfree or something.
You always have to bring up Oxenfree. Let it go, man.
No,
let it
we're
go.
gonna let it go.
You always go.
The sequel. I'm gonna have to do something about it. But you know what I mean.
If Oxenfree was a person, he'd get that chest punch from you. I know it.
He would get more than that.
you give him the chest.
And I am advocating
Sure.
100%. All right. Anyway, but yeah, it was a good essay.
Yes.
Good essay.
Check it out.
Yeah. I just pulled it up on Season Gaming right now. I got to check this out.
Oh, man. It's a good read. Definitely check it out. Dan recorded a video for us on the back button. Is it actually called the back button? It's called the back button.
So it's called the PlayStation 4 controller back button.
That's a terrible name.
It is very bad.
Okay. But the attachment for the DualShock 4 that gives you the two paddles on the back. So we recorded a quick video of that just, to see what it's about and make sure.
Very short.
Functionality. So that'll be going up later in the week this week. And then most importantly, I wanted to hear from you, Cog. What obviously we talked about PAX East in the coming week, but what else? Where can we find you? What are you up to? Yeah. What do you want our audience to know?
No, much appreciated. First of all, great for having you guys. This was awesome, man. Just rocking with the Season Gaming crew. Absolute pleasure. I mean, I love what you guys do. I love the professionalism you guys exude, and definitely just good guys in the community. And I'm glad that we got a chance to work together. This is amazing. Lots of laughs. For me, on Twitter, you're at Lord Cognito, and Iron Lord Podcast is the YouTube. You can find there. You can find the last word with me and Ibontis as far as the looter shooters. Obviously, King with King of the Statues. He's got that amazing piece that he got from Bert, I believe, right?
So he told me he bought Master Chief off of Bert. And I sent it because I have it right. It's literally behind the camera, and I sent him a picture. I was like, "You're gonna love it, man. It's a great statue." And he was so excited.
He was so excited. He sent me the messages. He was like, "You're not gonna believe this." He's like, "Wait till you see King of the Statues this week." And I'm like, "Okay." And I saw it. I'm like, "Dude, that's amazing." So salute to him. You know, he tries to put that out every Friday, and then obviously ILP, Iron Lords Podcast, every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Huge guest tomorrow. And I know for you guys record Monday, but so catch the replay. We're actually gonna have Jason Schreier. Jason Schreier is gonna be in the realm.
Wow.
So we're gonna talk investigative reporting and his latest book, I believe, was Blood, Sweat, and Pixels and stuff like that, and just dive deep a little bit, and what's going on in the industry and his stuff. So please check it when you get a chance. The replay will be up on Iron Lord Podcast YouTube. And again, salute to Season Gaming, man. Love what you guys do. Can't wait to link up with your Ains at E3. You know what I'm saying? How we do. And it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a good time. And just check out all these games and what's going on in the industry. So, super pumped.
If I don't go to E3 this year, I'll go with you to PAX East.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, pull up.
There it is.
You hold him to that call.
There it is.
Hold him
I'm
to
holding pull up, man. I'm telling you, this is the
We're staying with him, right?
All the Lord, all the Lord's gonna be there. All the Lord's gonna be there. Pull up, man. Let's go.
We'll be there.
Done
No
and
doubt.
done and
That's what I want to hear.
All right.
Man,
That's
it's
what
been
I
an
wanna
absolute pleasure, Clog. I'm sorry it took so long to do this. We've kind of been a little weird in the format, and Bert left, and things have kind of changed, so we had to sort it out. But we're in a good place now. Great to have you on. We've got some other guests lined up. Really, it's just been a good time, and it's always great to talk to people that have similar histories that really go back, to when gaming was a niche. You start with ColecoVision and immediately took the memories back, and the old Sega days.
Just somebody that appreciates the hobby. That's
absolutely.
really the biggest thing, and that's great, man. We really like having you on. It's awesome.
Much appreciated.
So
man.
we will do it again.
Fantastic.
We'll obviously have to reach out to some of the other lords as well. I told King I got to link up with him on we got to do like a duo statue.
Duo KOS,
video.
yeah.
Oh,
And I gotta
Lord.
get Dan. I gotta get you in the realm, man. I gotta get you on ILP too, bro.
Yeah, whenever, man. I'm always down. Always.
All right, no doubt. That's what's up.
Great. All right, guys. So thanks as always for tuning in, guys. Super appreciate it. That was Bitcast 93, and we will see you next week.